One of the criminals hanging next to Jesus insulted him. "Aren't you the Christ? Save yourself and us." Responding, the other criminal spoke harshly to him. "Don't you fear God, seeing that you've also been sentenced to die? We are rightly condemned, for we are receiving the appropriate sentence for what we did. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus replied, "I assure you that today you will be with me in paradise." It was now about noon, and darkness covered the whole earth until about 3:00, while the sun stopped shining. Then the curtain in the sanctuary tore down the middle. Crying out in a loud voice, Jesus said, "Father, into your hands I entrust my life." After he said this, he breathed for the last time. When the centurion saw what had happened, he praised God, saying, "It's really true. This man was righteous." My name is Ashley Morgan Kirk, and I'm excited to share both a reflection and a practice with you today. So this passage has a lot of things going on, a lot of big theological things. It's also commonly read each year. So maybe if you've heard it before, it's really familiar to you, and you might miss the nuance that's harder to see. It covers a lot of things, like questions about God's power to save, fear of God, fear of death, actions and their consequences, innocence, even what you and I would call today wrongful conviction, and even the death penalty. Like, that's a lot of stuff, right? In Luke's gospel, Jesus' words before he dies are statements of faith, entrusting his life to God. But in the gospels of Mark and Matthew, Jesus' last words are crying out, "Why, oh why, my God, have you forsaken me?" So I hold these two together in tension with our passage today, doubt and faith. When I think about this day on the church calendar, it's called Holy Saturday. It's wedged kind of like a sandwich right between Good Friday and Easter. Good Friday, as we know, for the first Christians was the most devastating day of the year because it was the day that Jesus was executed. He died, he was buried. They didn't know that Sunday was coming when Jesus would rise from the dead. And then we have the best day of the year for them, Sunday, what we now call Easter, where death doesn't get the final word. The worst thing is not the last thing. New life and resurrection become a promise for you and for me. But perhaps the weirdest part of this passage is when it describes darkness in the middle of the day across the whole earth for 3 hours. Super specific, right? I can't help but think about what it felt like to be in the dark. It makes me think about the times that you and I experience the dark. And I don't mean the actual dark. I mean the seasons of life that are dark, where hope is harder to find. An amazing theologian once said, "God does God's most powerful work in the dark." Right now, we sit between the darkness of Good Friday and the lightness that is Easter Sunday to come. And we reflect on the hard things, the dark things, because Jesus' story goes there, and because we know that it is what it's like to live in the dark sometimes. But we don't reflect in despair, because we have the knowledge that hope is coming with Sunday. So today, I want you to go outside late in the day. Try to do this in a time that the sun is setting. And don't take a single photo. Don't take any other missions other than just the mission to set aside yourself. Take the time to reflect on this. And as the sun sets and the darkness sets in, be reminded of the darkness that we can experience. Remember the depths of that darkness that Jesus overcame for us. But ultimately, end your time with the deep, deep knowledge that every single day, the sun always rises.